freaks to the metal hand of God. Metal hand of God. I'd like to welcome all you freaks to the metal hand of God. We some nerds with the urge of purge on some line. Show 'em the dick print and
And welcome back to the Metal Hand of God podcast. I am your host, Wayne, and you know this guy, this one guy, this dude, this family, this man who lives somewhere else in the world.
That's a really big intro for me. Hey, I'm the Rum Guy.
Oh, man, yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. We have a amazing, sexy guest today.
You already introduced me, Wayne.
Not you. You're not a guest, asshole.
Sorry.
You've been on the show a billion times. Technically, this gentleman's been on. This will be your third visit to our show, and I'm gonna. His name is Michael Del Pizzo. I'm sure I just screwed up your name again, but that's what I do.
No, that was right. That was right.
Oh,
That was
good.
right, man.
All right, good.
You did it right.
I took it. You know, it takes me 3 times to get it correct. You know.
It's all good.
He is the singer from Sunflower Dead, and yeah, like I said, he's been on the show a few times, and we love having him on. So that's why we dug him back up. Said, "Come on back
And
on."
you've been extremely busy.
Yes.
The last time we talked to you, your album, It's Time to Get Weird, that was happening.
Yep, it was happening.
And now you've got this new one, which made I'm going to assume your 2018, the last year, must have been insanely crazy. With you guys been doing nothing but touring.
Well, I mean, we've only done one tour for this new album, but it just was so much preparation with this new album to get it ready, get a record label, get a new band, change the image, the new sound. You just we reinvented ourselves. So it was just a really huge undertaking over, the course of 2018. So we were very busy doing that. We were able to get one tour in at the end of 2018. And now, we're getting ready to get back on the road here in 2019. And as the song is going up the charts on radio, that's helping us. So we should have some tour dates very shortly.
Yeah, Victim seems to be getting a lot of airplay, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, it's super cool because we haven't had a song on the radio since our single, It's Time to Get Weird. And that was back in 2016. So, as far as everyone's concerned, even though we never went away, in the industry's eyes, you kind of go away. But, the reaction's been really good, and it's very steadily climbing those charts and about to break the top 40, and we're pretty happy about that. So in about another week or two, we'll be in the top 40 and going a little higher. So everything's all good with that. And so tour dates will be coming.
It's a great tune, man.
Thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it very much.
Welcome.
I mean, everything I've heard so far that you've put out has been great. But this album, you said you mentioned a reinventing of it. I mean, it's even your stage show's a bit different from what I've seen on the live performances on recordings and things like that. Everything. I mean, this album to me is different in a lot of respects than your past albums. It's a completely different book, if you will. It's a different story. So, I mean, how did this album and this reinvention come about? What was that process? How did it just pop up one day, or how did that happen?
No, it definitely didn't pop up. It definitely, kind of like the theory behind Sunflower Dead is to kind of always be in the moment, be where we are at that specific time, and not be afraid of where the universe is going to, lead us to go. Not to be too hippie-esque or anything, because I'm definitely not that guy. But, while we were touring It's Time to Get Weird record, we were on tour within this moment, and I just started having, ideas and visions of the band without makeup, because I was starting to see things like that was becoming the focus and the precedent, and the music, not on our end, but on people's end, was a secondary thing. I felt some people were not actually hearing what we had to offer, because the thing is with music, people hear what they see. So if you dress up like zombies, right, which we were, that's what they're seeing, and that's what they associate us with, not the music. And I guess that was starting to bug me. So when we got home from the touring cycle, I mentioned it to the guys, and they were like, yeah, maybe not. And then we actually had 2 members, our rhythm section, decided not to continue on with us. So we were like, okay, well, it looks like we're going to get a new rhythm section here. And the guys said to me that they wanted to write a more focused, more heavy, more direct emotionally record, not so tongue-in-cheek, not so, kind of covered up in metaphor. They really wanted me to lyrically get right to the point, and they wanted to write some a little bit darker, a little heavier, and bigger grooves, more groove oriented, show a little bit more of what we have musically. And I was like, okay, well, then maybe now is the time to drop the makeup. And so when we decided we'll write the record and see what it sounds like, and then see if we need the makeup. And then when we heard the songs, the demos of the songs, we all were like, the three of us, well, we just don't need that show for this record. It just, the music speaks for itself. And we were like, we were fine with it, and we knew we were going to do it months before we told anyone. But we started putting out little teasers and little things on our personal pages to show people like what we were going to do, to kind of warm them up, because it's if you do something for like 5 years straight and you push the image and the makeup, and then all of a sudden you switch one day, it might get you a lot of attention, but it's hard to digest for the people that are into what you're doing. So we kind of broke it slowly, and then we would show them some song clips of us jamming or recording. And then, by the time the music came out and the video for Victim came out, I think it all made sense to everyone who had ever been into Sunflower Dead, where we were going and what we were doing. And it wasn't so much like a big shock to our already fans.
Well, this really, I kind of dig it. I as soon as I saw the first video that you guys put out for this new album, and I'm like, I see it's kind of just dropping the makeup itself. To me, it really did that in itself. Knowing your band and following the band, and seeing you guys where you've come from up to this point, and then dropping that image that you had, that was dramatic in itself. But then you add the music. This is a much more, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
Mature album.
It's very orchestrated.
Mm-hmm.
It's very layered. It's a dramatic album.
Right.
The music is insanely intense. Your vocals are spot on, man. You can feel the song through what you're saying, and the men in the band. Good Lord, dude, your percussion, your fucking guitarists are insane. I mean, it is amazing to listen to, and it's like you're watching a story unfold. It's very cool.
Yeah, it is a dramatic record, and the one thing I did say to Jabu, who's actually sitting right next to me, because he's our lead guitarist, and I said to him, I really want you to shine on this one. Start showing people what you have, because they weren't getting it with what we were doing. So really start letting it out, and I think that's a combination of not only the playing, but there's a big emotional weight on this record that just carries through the entire thing, and it makes the album very muscular, even when we get soft. And there's some acoustic moments on the record and some of the songs, but it's just this big muscular emotional weight that is a vibe that we haven't really 100% explored fully on a record yet. And on this one, we did it, and we are extremely happy with that. And it took me the longest to come around to it, because I was still in the mindset of where we were, and the guys were telling me, no, we got to go this way. And then finally, when I heard like the finished version of the record, I was like, oh man, these guys were totally right. This is where I want to be. So it was an interesting, hard process for me, but it worked out well.
What's great is it's still you. I mean, it's your sound. I mean, Wayne, I mean, it's you heard it. I mean, it's
of
like,
course, it's more like I was saying. It's more of a it's kind of like more of a mature album. It's very, very good. It's very well laid out to me. And I'm going to say this, it's going to come across very weird. Maybe if you take this wrong, I don't mean it to come out wrong at all. Okay. But listening to this album and then listening to the other two albums, this album to me is almost a, oh God, this is going to sound overly corny. This is going to sound, it's more of a, if this was a movie, if your album was a movie soundtrack, to me, this is the soundtrack to an amazing prequel to the two that you did. This is the power. This is like almost a I don't know, a rebirth album. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It's a rebirth. That's
Right.
in our bio on our one sheet. It says this is the rebirth of Sunflower
Oh
Dead.
shit! I nailed it. Awesome.
Yeah, and not only that, what's funny is we really had a hard time titling the record. In fact, our manager titled the record because we didn't have one. So he was like, just call it Coma. And we're like, why? He goes, I don't know. It sounds cool. So we went with Coma, but we're like, oh, that works. But like, really, we kept calling the record the Nolan record because to us, when we were writing these songs, it felt like the Christopher Nolan Batman.
That's so good.
As opposed to, the Tim Burton Batman. Both are good in their own regard, but one's a little campy and corny, and one's like dead serious and
dark and brooding. That's awesome.
Exactly, and that's where we are now. We're in our Christopher Nolan phase, without a doubt.
I really like that. That's a really awesome way of putting it. Really, it's fantastic because I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I mean that's it. We almost called the record Nolan. We literally were like, that was in the final three. And then we're like, yeah, but like, what the hell does that mean to people? So like Jabusa, he's like, oh, the Nolan record. He still calls it that. But, we just went with Coma and we're like, yeah. And now I love the fact that it's called Coma, even though it has nothing to do with anything. It's not in the lyrics. There's no song Coma, but it just, our manager said Coma and we said, yeah, that works. That's great. Let's do it. Like, cause sometimes we're like real easy like that. We're just like, it's not a big like discussion, like, oh my God, what's the right thing? It's like, oh, that works. Cool. Do it.
That's so nice.
What is your? You got there's two of you there. What are your two personal favorites on this album?
My two favorite songs are the last song on the album is called "Turn Away," and that's a song that almost didn't make the record because Jabu, who wrote the song by himself completely, we basically had a deadline by by July 30 or 31st, whatever the last day of July is, 2017. We had to have all the demos submitted because we started pre-production with our producer 2 weeks later. So we had to have all the demos submitted so everyone could know what was going on. And the last friggin' day, Jabu goes, I got another song I need you to write vocals for. And I was like, you son of a bitch. I was like, I don't want to write any more vocals. So he hands me this song, Turn Away. And I just listened to it. I walked in his office. And I started yelling at him. I said, you're the biggest asshole I know. You're such a jerk. How could you do this to me? And by the way, I love this song. I think it's the best thing you ever written. I hate you. So, like, I just went home that day and I wrote the lyrics to that song and the vocals. And I just had this feeling of what it would be. And, the band never heard what I did. The band didn't hear his version of the demo, really. They heard it, but they were like, whatever. Then we learned it in pre-production, but they didn't hear my vocals. Only the producer did. So we just kind of like put it together, and it just was like, wow. It's 100% Jabu's writing style and 100% my vocal style without anybody interfering, if that makes sense.
Well, tell you what,
that's awesome.
That song is very, very tight. It is really, really thought out, and I really dig that song. I got to agree with you on that one. What's another one you got?
What's another? My other favorite one probably is the song "The Biggest Mistake," just because that song, and we went over this with the producer. In theory, musically shouldn't work because it's literally so bipolar. If you listen to it part to part, it shouldn't work. And even he was like, "How is this really going to work?" And Jabu kept going, "No, trust me, it works. It works musically. It works in the scales." He goes, "Mathematically, it works." He goes, "It works." And we were like, "But it's so all over the place." But then when we heard the finished product, we all were like, "Wow." That song shows Sunflower Dead to me, along with Turn Away, on a different level, emotionally combined with the musicality.
It's very much a power ballad, and to me, it's got that ballad driven. It's still hard. Don't get me wrong, but it's like a ballad with a message, whatever that message is. It's one of those. The way it's musically, it's great, or the way the words are laid out. It's one of those things where I'm sure you have a message behind it, but it leaves it for interpretation, which is great for anybody who's listening to it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, I tried to not do that as much on this record, but that one just kind of has that thing and it works. And it literally does, like, The Biggest Mistake literally does, like, almost everything I do vocally is in that song. It's like the whole kitchen sink is in that song. It gets the heaviest it gets on the record. It's the most beautiful it gets on the record. Like, I sing in almost every possible way I sing that would make sense with Sunflower Dead. I mean, it's all in that song, and it's just like, and it's one we want to bring into the live setting, and we're going to work on it, but it's really difficult because there's so much going on. It's like, okay, you have to pick and choose like what we're gonna, you know, show live with it, because we're not a band that's going to go up there with backing tracks or any of that stuff. It's just not for us. So we have to kind of figure out how we're going to get that one across. It's a tough one. I mean, it really is a big song. So they're my two favorite, just because emotionally, I think we just nailed those on the head.
And it's strange because I agree with you totally on both of those. But the one that I listen to that I really dig, I really dig the song, is Kept Down.
Oh, wow. Right on.
To me, that song on the album, and you've got a lot of, there's a lot of work in every one of those songs, but the complexity in that song, to me, is it's great. I mean,
right
it's really the one thing I'm kind of like, well, damn, man, I can't find a video for that song.
Oh, well, yeah, we haven't played it live yet, and we've only done the one tour, so. I mean, there's only 9 songs on the record, and we're actually already playing like 6 or 7 of them. Sure. But we haven't played that one live yet. And like, I wasn't sure about that one. Like, I fought the guys on that song the entire time, because I was like, "Are you sure you want me to do this kind of song, like with this heavy of a verse and you know, this chaotic of a song?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's fucking dope." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And then even when we were like putting the record together, I was like, "Are you sure?" Because we actually recorded 11 songs, and there's only 9 on the record. So there's 2 more that are going to come out later, because they're both great songs. And I was like, "Are you sure you want this one and not the other one we held off?" Because one we held off is a radio song, and it's awesome. And we'll probably go to radio when this album cycle is done. To me,
this is going to be on the radio. To me, if you were to start playing this live, and this gets picked up, good Lord, man, this is it. And I've had some other people listen to it, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" Like,
that's
yes,
really cool.
That's really the song.
Cool. And you know what? Some people have felt that. Like, that's great. You know, it's one of those songs. It's not a hard one to do. It's just I just was not sure about it. I was and Jamie, our other guitar player, was like, "No, this song just grooves, it crushes." And I was like, "All right." I was like, because we're not like not one person of the 3 of us has the lead in the band. It's like,
right.
Well, what do you think? What do you think? All right, if you feel that strongly, let's go that way. You know, it's all good. And then if it doesn't work, we don't get mad at the other person if something fails. Just go, "Oh, well, let's try something else." You know.
Well, fucking Jamie ordered some pie. Someone has got to buy that man a fucking pie, because he got the gold star today.
Right on.
Oh my God! But yeah, you guys have been just crazy busy. And it's absolutely amazing.
But that's great, though. I mean, you know, that is fantastic. I love to see people that we know succeed, and you guys are definitely deserve it.
I mean, you guys have been in the business for a while now. I mean, individually, you've all been playing for a long time.
Long time.
And here's an oddball question for you, and I'm sure you've been asked before. All the guys in the band, you've got families, you've got significant others. How does that balance out for you guys? Is it hard to do that type of touring when you've got people at home, or they go with you, or how does that work for you guys?
Nobody comes with us. It's hard.
Well, I got some time off if you guys if needs.
You know what? Be careful. I'm not quite sure you really want to do that. It's not the easiest thing to be around Sunflower Dead on the road, but you know, some dudes like have families and they miss things, and it's really difficult. And there's really difficult days on the road from that. Some of us, like I have a girlfriend, I don't have children, so you know it is difficult. But you know, we balance it out our own way. Some of the dudes are single, so it's just everyone has their own thing. I mean, if you're gonna do this and you're gonna tour, you already know what you're getting into. So it's like
make a game plan.
And it's kind of why we lost our rhythm section before, is because, you know, life got in the way. They had to make some adult decisions, you know. And I think when you don't handle and balance out your life correctly, eventually life's gonna, you know, knock you down and say, okay, you have to grow up a little bit. But me, Jabu, Jamie are actually on top of our lives, so we're able to do this.
It is a tough balance, though. I mean, it's planning.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to get life in order in every aspect first before you can just usually do anything if you want to be responsible about it. I mean, you could just say,
without a doubt.
Yeah, you could just say, fuck it, I'm going to, you know, live in my van. But, you know, we all get to a point in our lives we're too old to fucking live in our van.
You don't want to be living in the van. It's tough, you know. And we did our last tour. We went out in a van because it was a small tour. And it was all right because we're in hotels every night. But you know, it's much easier to be in the RV or a bus, and
Sure.
But you got to do what you got to do, and we're all set to it. And another thing is we believe in it. We believe in the record, you know, and it's that's really the important thing. If you kind of believe in what you're doing, you're willing to put up with a lot more bullshit than if you just were throwing something against the wall and saying, well, let's see if anybody likes it. Like,
right.
I believe in the emotion of this record, and it took me a while, but it's legit. Like, it's something that I think if it does catch fire, it's really going to catch fire.
Oh, it's definitely going to catch fire. It's going to fucking burn your hand.
Okay. It's fine with me, man. I'll buy some gloves, man. No worries.
So you know, it's at that time, like I told you before, man, we're doing some different things on our show now. So we're going to take a few minutes break here, and we're going to let this segment play. We have actually a new segment we're going to premiere today on the show with you. It's called Heroes and Heels.
Okay.
Not heroes in heels, although I think these two guys probably do wear heels because they're a little weird. But it's actually a wrestling segment. These guys they analyze different things and stuff like that on wrestling and stuff like that. It's pretty good.
An amazing job.
So everybody sit back, and here's our new segment, Heroes and Heels.
Alright, wrestling fans, are you ready? It's time for Heroes and Heels with Tricky Ricky and the Enforcer.
Welcome to Heroes and Heels. This is Tricky Ricky.
And with them is the Enforcer.
The Enforcer. What kind of name is that?
It's better than fucking Tricky Ricky. Sounds like a fucking gay stripper.
Well, Tricky Ricky's got tricks.
I think Tricky Ricky does tricks. But
and if I do, it does not matter.
Hey, you got to get mine, you got to get yours, huh?
That's it. So, what we talking about here today?
We're supposed to be talking about some wrestling, but all we seem to be talking about is Ricky doing trickies.
Doing tricks.
But I guess we can start, last week, early last week, a little behind, like always. We lost one of the greats of the wrestling world, Mean Gene Okerlund.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I mean, he was up there. If you didn't know anything about wrestling, you knew Hulk Hogan, and you knew him and the mustache.
You did not have to watch wrestling to know who Mean Gene Okerlund was.
That's it. I mean, I don't want to give away my age, but if you as old as I am, the Saturday morning cartoon version was with the rock and wrestling and all. Probably don't know nothing about that, no Trick.
Man, you're a little bit older than me, Bubba.
Yeah, now I done gave him something to YouTube when he gets home. But it's just, I don't know, one of those guys that you thought would live forever, just a legend. I mean, he was a player in all your huge promotions, WWE, spent time in WCW. He was just he was a great asset. He made you really want to watch the matches. Some of the best matches in history, Andre and Hulk Hogan.
It was the best at hyping these things up into legendary matches.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
the ultimate hype man.
Exactly. I don't think there's anybody in the business like him now. I mean, I think the last great one, other than him, might have been Paul, or I don't even gonna call him Paul Heyman, Paul Lee Dangerously from his ECW days. He conducted a hell of an interview as well, but I'd have to put them up there as like 1, 2, and then Gorilla Monsoon at number 3, but I guess they all dead if you look at it.
True that.
But, and then another topic we wanted to touch on is the whole Chris Benoit debate. There's been some fake news lately saying...
There's been some Facebook post going around saying that he's finally being inducted into the WWE
yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Which, we all know if it's on Facebook, it's got to be true.
Of course. So, of course, I went and Googled it, and there's no fucking say-so whatsoever, not a mention at all. So I tracked down the page that had the original post saying this, and, I started looking through the comments, and got a lot of hate in there, and they also have some sympathizers.
I can totally understand why. I believe he should be in there. What's your opinions?
I also agree. I think he should be in there. You can't hold it against the career that this guy had. Chris fucking Benoit had a hell of a career.
I mean, everywhere he won, he everywhere he went, he won,
Busted
ECW,
ass,
WCW, WWF, yeah. And I mean,
Four Horsemen.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was the fucking shining star of the one of the last incarnations of the Four Horsemen. So,
and part of the business is, you take some bumps.
Exactly.
A lot of bumps, and these bumps took a toll on him, and concussion after concussion. So this shit brings on mental illness. You may do things that you normally wouldn't do.
Exactly. And I mean, let's be honest. We've all wanted to choke the shit out of our wives at one point or another,
Through a fucking wall.
I mean, if the wife does happen to listen to this shit, I'm just joking. But in all seriousness,
he's joking.
Yeah, just because I'm scared she'd shoot me. But that's neither here nor there. But I really do believe that he gave his
life.
Yeah, he gave his body to the sport. I mean, when he wrestled, it's not like that little, the pussy shit you see today. He was taking bumps. One of his finishers was
the top rope,
exactly,
head fucking first.
I mean, how many times do you expect a man to bounce his head off of, another
balls?
Man? Yeah, it's just, I don't know why you brought up balls. I always think Chris Benoit, it's a flying headbutt, not a flying nut butt. But that's Tricky Ricky again.
We call it like we see it.
So, I mean, I think it's terrible that his wife and his child, was murdered and he committed suicide and whatnot. But I really don't think that people, sports figures and all, make it into Hall of Fames and, the great mentions based on their personal lives. I mean, it's not like we're giving them a Role Model of the Year award. We're giving him, wanted him to get an award for what he did in the ring. And in the ring, you can't take nothing away from him,
You can't debate it. I saw a video where Hornswoggle was on some podcast. I can't remember what podcast he was on, but he was interviewed and he was asked about the whole Chris Benoit situation. And he kind of leads it to believe where he thinks someone murdered Chris Benoit and his family and set it up. Because there is no motive.
No.
What motive does Chris Benoit have to kill his wife and kid?
Exactly. And then, if I'm remembering the story correctly, on Wikipedia, the Sunday night when he no-showed the pay-per-view, there was reports from Wiki Informer from the Connecticut area, which is home office to WWE and all of that. There was reports that they was all murdered or whatever. And then Monday night he comes out, he doesn't come out, of course, but Vince McMahon comes out, gives him the 10-bell salute, blah, 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 mourning his death. And then Tuesday they find out. So if supposedly the bodies wasn't found till Monday, how do we, on Sunday, it's just too much of a coincidence to say somebody in the Connecticut area uploaded to Wikipedia about his death and the death of his wife and his kid. It's just a little too suspicious for me,
It don't add up.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So, like I said, I know that there's haters out there who want to hold on to this murderer persona, but I feel he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. Me as well. Me as well.
Just how I feel.
And, I guess we'll just have to go out there and say, these are our views.
It's our personal views.
That's it. I mean, if you agree with us, great. If not, stop being a pussy.
Stop being a pussy. If
you
don't agree, leave some comments.
Yeah. I mean, for the 4 people that's probably actually going to listen to this segment, I don't want to piss all of y'all off week 1. Just wait, because I'm sure we'll get around to it, I mean, it's a wrestling show, but I'm sure there'll be dick and ball jokes and,
if you have a problem with it, you can call in on the hotline, 1-800-FUCK-YOU.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you.
And if you don't get through the first time, just keep trying. We'll get to you shortly. But so back to wrestling. Royal Rumble coming up January 27th.
Rumble.
One of the biggest things for me is who's going to be the surprise entrant.
I feel like the last few years they haven't really had too many big surprise entrants like they used to have.
I agree.
Used to have celebrities popping out.
I mean, I think really the last great one was when AJ Styles debuted at WrestleMania, at Royal Rumble, 2-3 years ago. I mean, I don't like to see the fucking has-beens. Like, how many times can Goldust be a fucking surprise entrant, you know? How many times can Kane come? I mean, doesn't he have a fucking town to run or something, being a mayor and whatnot? Yeah, I mean, come on, you know? Let's bring in some of these,
Isn't he back on the show now, like, weekly?
Yeah,
Rey
he is.
Little Ray.
Yeah, looking awfully small. I guess he's leaving the juice alone, you know? I guess the juice is not loose. I would love to see, which I really don't think it'll happen. I don't think we'll ever see Cody Rhodes in a WWE ring again. But, I mean, you got the Young Bucks. You got Kenny Omega. I mean, Chris Jericho's even a hot commodity.
I'd like to see Kenny Omega make a surprise entrant. But it's not going to happen.
No, I believe when Rhodes, Cody that is, and the Young Bucks turned down the WWE's offers to focus on the AEW. Have you heard anything about that? The All Elite Wrestling?
I think I've heard something.
I do believe that's
some guys making a new league, a new federation, or whatever you would like to call it.
And from what I understand, they're going to have Time Warner's backing them. So that
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, they're going to be a major player.
Contender.
Yeah, because I mean
more than TNA. I guess we can imagine, right? Warner Brothers.
The rumor was that Anthem Sports tried to sell TNA like lock, stock, and barrel to AEW for them to make it theirs, and they declined.
No.
They wanted to start from scratch.
You definitely don't want to do that. It's just going to be the same shit with a different label.
Yeah,
Start fresh.
Exactly.
New roster. Find great talent.
And I mean, that's exactly what's going on.
With the WWE,
yeah,
I'm tired of the fucking reruns. I'm tired of the same 5 matches week after week.
And how many? I mean, when I was growing up, when wrestling was in its prime, the champion, like I remember there was a 30-day clause. Like if you didn't defend your title, you got stripped. I mean, Brock, you don't even see him on fucking TV every 30 days. It's like that's just a fucking joke. You know?
It's a waste of fans' money, the ones that spend money to go out here and see these live shows and not see a fucking championship be defended.
Exactly. And I wonder why the ratings are going so low. Then you got
Vince fucking selling off stock left and right.
Yeah. And then you got Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, these guys like your Cody Rhodes and whatnot, they're making more money doing this than they are when they was in, like, you know, the big league, the WWE, you know? Because, I mean, they're giving them freedom, you know? They're letting them work New Japan. They're letting them work Ring of Honor, this, that, and the other, you know?
Pop up on TNA.
It's like when you try to control it, you know, let them go out there and be what they are, you know? So hopefully, if this AEW comes to pass, maybe, you know, it'll light a fire under the WWE's ass, kind of like, you know, Monday Nitro did back in the day, the good old Monday Night Wars. And we'll get some quality content on fucking TV when it comes to wrestling again, you know?
Is Jeff Hardy back?
Yes, he is. And he's in a terrible fucking angle where Samoa Joe is pointing out all his demons. He's a pillhead. He's a junkie, you know. How in the fuck are you doing a wrestling podcast and don't know shit about wrestling?
Look, I'm tired of watching reruns. I'm being honest. I not watched in quite some time.
Oh, Tricky Ricky is a non-believer.
Tricky Ricky's tired of fucking reruns.
I understand that. So,
but if my boy Jeff is back, then I may tune back in.
He did a great little fucking feud with Randy Orton. Randy Orton.
But wasn't that right before he went out?
Yeah, went out.
I was still watching.
Okay, so you seen the whole ear thing? Man, that shit made my freaking ears hurt. I was like, fuck that. But well, anyway.
I would like to see him get another story arc towards the championship.
I think we need Brother Nero. I think that's what
Brother
we need.
Nero.
Yeah.
Not fucking Willow.
I wouldn't even mind Willow.
Come on,
if that's the
Willow
progression.
Willow was a little.
If that has to be the
off the
progression,
charts.
to be Willow, then Brother Nero. But I don't know. I'm thinking the WWE will probably fuck it up just like they did, deleted Matt Hardy or woken Matt Hardy. What a
Matt
fucking
Hardy.
joke. I'd have retired too, But
Well, he may be back.
yeah, well.
He needs a break from the commercial. league.
Interesting side note: his wife, Rebby Sky or Ribby, however the hell you say her name.
I say Rebby.
Yeah, Reby. I don't fucking know. His wife is one of the talents already signed to AEW.
All right.
So
is she actually going to wrestle, or is she going to be a manager?
that I don't know, but their little short roster already has Brandy Rhodes, Cody, Rebby Sky. So it'd be interesting to see if hubby follows her or not.
We'll see where it goes in the future.
Well, I think that's about our time. So we hope you liked it, and we hope you listened.
Which you probably didn't, but it's okay. You're forgiven.
Oh yeah, and if y'all didn't, it's probably because y'all don't listen to one of the best podcasts out there right now, the MHOG podcast,
Metal
Hand of God. So yeah. But so if not, then you're missing two. Or at least one good show, because, they're a decent show. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about, but we're trying. So until next time, if there is a next time, we don't get canceled after one segment. I'm the Enforcer.
And I'm Tricky.
We out.
Alright, next time, remember, if you feel like you're stuck in the corner and can't get off the ropes, you know where to turn for the right information. So join us next time in the next installment of Heroes and Heels with Tricky Ricky and the Enforcer.
Well, there you go. That was our new segment right there. It was pretty interesting and very informative.
They nailed it.
I think those two guys secretly love each other. Like
I feel the love between them for sure.
Right,
That's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I think those two guys they have
did a
like
great job.
unspoken
and, look forward to hearing
love.
more from them.
But so that was cool. Like I said, we're doing a bunch of new things, and we're excited to have that segment on our show now. So yay! Anyway, so back to you, Mike. How's it going, man?
It's all right.
What's going besides doing all the music stuff? What else you guys got going?
Me, man, just regular life, checking things out, watching shows, watching movies, spending time with my girlfriend, staying out of trouble.
Nice.
No, you're not. You're not staying out of. How you do that when you're on tour?
You go to bed right after the show.
That's what I'm saying. See, he's a good dude.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. Right after the show. Okay.
Right as soon as I'm done doing what I got to do and we're all packed up, I go to sleep.
That is probably my
So
problem.
see, he takes the Mike Patton route. Because there's a really funny interview that they interviewed Mike Patton when he was on tour, when Faith No More was on tour with Metallica and Guns N' Roses, and in the interview, which actually that show was fantastic. I remember seeing that show. But in the interview, it's like, so what do you do, after the show? He says, well, there's only three things you can do. He says, one, you can go get drunk with Metallica. Two, you can go in the hot tub with Axl and his whores. Or three, you can read a book. He said, I read a lot of books.
I read a lot of books. And you know what? If I read books, I would be reading a lot of books. But I just listen to a lot of music and relax. It's what you got to do. The days of like the craziness at certain levels aren't there,
Yeah.
You do it so much when you're coming up and you're younger. And you get kind of burned on it after a while. I mean, it's
I'm sure.
Without a doubt. And I mean, without a doubt. So, but you never know. Maybe at the big levels you party a little more. I don't know. I'll let you know if I get to that point.
Well, that's going to be, at this rate, it'll be by the midsummer probably.
Works for me. I'm cool with that timeline.
You didn't know Rum was a psychic, right?
I did not know that, but right on.
Yeah, and you're getting charged $3.95 per minute right now.
Yeah, perfect. Build the label.
Build a label. That's awesome.
Well, how is this label? I mean, you guys did you did two albums you did yourself, right?
Yeah, on our own record label. And then on this one, I told the guys that we were going to put this one out through a label some way or another. I wasn't going to self-release a third album. And, you know, when the record was done last January, we shopped it for about 5 or 6 months and to everyone and talked to everyone. And some people told us they loved it. And some people told us that we were terrible and nobody cares and you suck. And you know, we got told everything. And then,
wow, that's nice.
Well, it's just kind of how it goes, you know.
It's the nature of the business.
Yeah, it's just no big deal. And then you know, we hooked up with Tom Hayes-Art and David Ellefson and kept talking to him, and our manager kept talking to him, and they were into putting it out. And we talked about how we wanted to do it, and everything kind of linked up. So we're like, yeah, let's do it. It was a very easy process, no big months and months of negotiations. It was very simple, and it's a very fair deal. And they've done everything they said they were going to do, and they're allowing us to do everything that we need to do. So it works out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, who's doing? I mean, how do you have somebody? You use specific people on artwork and stuff for your albums in the past. Are you using the same people? Or is there somebody new working on this stuff for you?
The girl that put together the artwork for the new album, her name is Melody Myers. She actually works for the label. And the only thing that we told her we wanted a very clean, simple album. You know, actually, I initially wanted it all black, but she thought all white would be cooler. And I just said on the album cover, I wanted our skull flower by itself. I didn't want our name. I didn't need the album title. I just wanted our skull flower to be represented. And then she kind of came back with all these versions of it, some in color, some in black and white. And we kind of, you know, argued over it as a band and then decided with everyone, you know, that we're going to go with the one we did. And it's just as nice and simple. And it says Sunflower Dead to me, you know, with that skull flower. And that's all it really needed to say, because it to me, all that mattered to me was the music inside. So if you saw that skull flower, then after that, it's just listen to the music.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's good, because I mean, as you said prior to, I mean, it was a step away from the past into a new thing, and even though the past was good, the new thing is its own thing.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that would be perfect. I mean, I think that's, you know, you want to keep it simple. You want the music to speak for itself. And,
yeah, which is why the video for Victim came out that way. I basically, you know, told the guys, I was like, you know, I kind of want to do a really simple video just showing us and our passion, you know, crushing this song, you know, kind of like I kept saying, kind of like Pantera's Unbroken video. Now, we're not the same kind of band. We're, you know, our music is not that heavy, and we don't really do that. But I was like, you know, but the passion is the same. And I was like, I just kind of want to get that across. So that was the model. So we just sat in a room with Matt Zane, who's a great video director. And he got it across. And we sweated our asses off for about 8 hours and 112 degrees, locked in that little room. And it came out real. And we were performing, going at it 100%. There's no, you know, camera tricks to make us look cooler. We were sweating our butts off, and it came across just like the album came across, and the artwork, everything's just come across correctly, simple, to the point, no bullshit, just exactly what we wanted.
That's awesome.
And it worked. That was great. And the simplicity of that video for it, and with, you know, the blackness all around you, and the lighting that was on you guys was really good. And you know, I think
they did a great job.
That worked out well. Really good.
It did, and it really, to me, reintroduced the band and showed people, like, okay, these guys aren't fucking around now. You know, it's just them, stripped down, no bullshit. And it's funny, when the video came out, I started getting hit up by like radio guys and some label people, and they were like, oh, I get it now. I see what you guys are doing. This is cool, you know.
Well, this no, I'm gonna take you in a different direction here, real quick.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
A different direction.
I was going through some of the older songs,
right,
that I hadn't heard of, you know, that I hadn't heard you guys play before, and I went, well, I wonder if these guys ever did any covers.
Okay.
And you did.
Yeah, on our first record, yeah.
On your first record, and I was like, what? I was like, oh my god! I was like, I don't think Wayne's ever heard it.
I haven't. No.
They did a cover of Every Breath You Take.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, because, you know, you hear a lot of covers on you know, coming out of bands. They're, you know, on Octane and Liquid Metal and stuff like that. I listen to those channels quite a bit on Sirius, and I'm like, well, they do a lot of good covers, but I've never heard a really good rock cover of Every Breath You Take. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting pick, and that was a really good cover you did.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really, really, really proud of that for the first record. I wanted to go to radio on the first record with Every Breath You Take, but people at the time kept telling us no. We didn't go to radio at all on our first record, but everyone we talked to was like, no, don't do that, don't do that. And then, of course, like 2 years later, covers are like the big hot thing again to go to radio with. But I'm really proud of that song. I feel we did a really great job with it and really connected lyrically to that one. We used to play it all the time on our first album cycle, but we stopped playing it. And then Jabu and I just did like a small little acoustic thing on Facebook Live about a month ago.
Yes.
And we did that acoustic, and we're going to do it again Friday night. We're playing this benefit show, Jabu and I acoustic, and we're going to do a couple Sunflower Dead songs, and we're going to do Every Breath You Take because it just comes across really well, and we're real proud of the way we approach that song musically. It's a pretty cool version of it.
Well, it's cool because it's got that the guitar. It's not the reverb. It's not. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what the effect is on it. But the guitar, Wayne, through that song, it's got a feeling like to me like it's drowning. It's like it's coming up out of the water. It's like it's a really, really cool version of that song. And layman's opinion here, if you ever had a chance to put that re-release that song on an album, man, you should do it because that was really cool.
We think about that. We thought about re-releasing or re-recording some of the songs that haven't gotten much love from the previous two records, and kind of doing like a little Jar of Flies thing like Alice in Chains, do like an acoustic EP with some of our songs, because now that we've been going into radio stations and doing these songs acoustic, we're like really getting our groove on with it, and the feel of it's really cool. And we're like, all right, we kind of have some good musical ideas to get this across. So you might actually see that happen sooner than later.
I think, because it really, really was cool. And well, what is your opinion on some of the stuff that I know you guys been playing with a lot of different bands? What are some bands out there that you guys have, been playing with that have been like, hey, these guys are really good, or maybe it's quote unquote, maybe it's like Sunflower Dead years ago. Are you seeing anybody coming up that you could say, hey, these guys are coming, they're going to be knocking on your door soon?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. One of our really good friends, he just started a new band with David Silveri of Korn, and they're called Bias. Okay. And they are great. They're a bunch of guys from the local scene here in Southern California. They did they basically had an entire band. They didn't have a singer. They did a worldwide singer search, auditioned people from all over the world, had people come out from like Europe and stuff to audition to be in the band. And they picked a great singer from I think North Hollywood, and they just put out their first couple songs. It was on Blabbermouth and everywhere. It's out on the YouTube, and the band is called Bias, and I think the first official single is called Pity. And I think they have a ton of potential to really, go places. And that has nothing to do with the fact that David, the original drummer from Korn, is in the band. It's the fact that the songs that they wrote are really, really good. And people are already starting to notice, even though the songs literally just were released like a week ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow, that's really cool.
So we're playing this Bias. Yeah, we're playing a show with them Friday. Jabu and I are doing this benefit show acoustic, but Bias is going to play on the show, and they're going to play electric, with their full band. So it's going to be a good night for sure. But yeah, I would suggest people to check out Bias.
Cool. And if you don't mind me asking, what might the benefit show be about? Is it?
The benefit show is it's about a friend of Bias's, a family friend committed suicide. So the benefit is for his family to get them some money. It's only a $10 fee to get in. You can donate what you want, but it's just a $10 donation. There's 4 or 5 bands. It's Bias, Kill Set, another good band from Southern California, Scum Love from Hollywood, Us Acoustic, and another acoustic act called Unlovely Creature creatures, and it's going to be a really cool night. It's at the Wayfarer in Costa Mesa, California. And, we were asked to do it, and we were more than happy to come there and jam some songs acoustic. So it's going to be a fun night for a sad situation.
It is. That's and it's a tragic thing that seems to happen more often than not. It's
Without a doubt.
very sad. Speaking of acoustic things, you know what you said that, and I thought, what would be a really cool, again, layman's opinion, a song that you guys did. I think it was off Time to Get Weird. Was a song called Nothing.
Yeah, and you know what? That's one of the 2 piano songs that I've written. There's Nothing, and on the first album, there's a song called Starting Over Again. Mm-hmm. And so on the next little Facebook Live acoustic thing we're gonna do, I think what I'm gonna do is just set up a little piano, and I'll just sing that. I'll play those songs like a little kind of unplugged acoustic version on the piano, and me just singing them. So Nothing and Starting Over Again, and then I have a couple covers that I do on the piano. So just to kind of let people hear those songs that they haven't heard, and maybe we'll re-record them that way. So on the acoustic EP. Cool. So you're definitely
kind of something.
We're on the same page here.
Yeah, it's kind of something I miss. You don't hear a lot of, a band. They play, they get known for certain songs, and there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of good songs on an album that never get recognition. But there's so many songs that you can do, not just you personally, but any band out there that can do. I mean, sometimes those songs are just so well written they can translate. Some songs you can't translate acoustically.
But some you can, but some you can, and some are better acoustic. So it happens. And we've actually messed with a bunch of our songs, and some of them you go, wow, I didn't know that was going to be so fun. It's like that really has a good vibe to it. And some you're like, yeah, that one sucks.
Well, I remember MTV Unplugged. That was actually a really cool show back in the day when MTV played.
Yeah, the most memorable Nirvana album was made from that. Dude.
Yeah, that and the most memorable SNL skit with Will Ferrell as.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Definitely.
It's funny because I have been putting on. I put on local shows here all the time. Every month I put on at least.
Nice.
God, I do 8 shows a month. Every Friday and Saturday I put shows on for people. All local bands, anybody who wants to play, or I can get people. And I decided to it's all from the podcast. It's all us hosting these shows and stuff. But I decided to start doing once a month, do an acoustic show. And what I do is I try to get the local bands, even the heavy guys. I'm like, look, guys, why don't y'all try to strip down and come do some stuff like this,
and not literally,
just to be,
that would be creepy.
Yeah, it would be really weird. Yeah. Just to be different, just to try something else. I'm not I don't want you guys to, take your image and throw it in the trash, but I'm just saying this would be kind of cool. People would come see y'all and be like, wow, this is a whole other side of this band, And I've had a few like the punk bands and stuff are way more willing to do that than, of course, the metal guys, but it's okay. I mean, it's cool. Whatever they want to do, it's fine by me.
There's a lot of great bands out of New Orleans area, Texas, Florida. I mean, there's a lot of good bands in that area. So when you get those bands and you can get those shows, and then you're again known for these high energy performances, but you can get them in just as big of a venue and strip it down for a really interesting acoustic set.
And then you can really see who really has the goods, who's not hiding behind volume and distortion and screaming, who can sit there and do nothing but sit there and perform and captivate you. And then you start to separate, who's legit and who's just kind of jumping around.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's to me what determined whether I liked the Eagles or not.
Right.
Because I always liked the Eagles, unfortunately there was that one, I've seen them 3 times and saw them 3 times in concert. The last time though, it really was the worst acoustic set I ever saw, unfortunately.
Really? It happens.
Yeah, well, what are they, 90? So
you know what? When you're on the road, man, it's just every day's a new day. Weather, sickness,
arthritis,
arthritis, whatever you got to deal with. And what those guys do vocally in the Eagles is so difficult, and those harmonies it's like, it's like you got to give certain people leeway, and they're not faking it. They're not using backing tracks. They're actually singing.
That's
so
true.
It's like it's a tough gig to do what they're doing. So I would imagine there's probably plenty of shows that are like, oh geez, and there's probably, but when they hit it on right on the right on the nose, it's probably like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Wayne.
I was gonna say I have a question since we're bringing up this subject. All right, so like, worst show you've ever paid for?
Oh, me? Worst show I've ever paid for. See,
Like-
that's different because I've gotten into a lot of shows for free. But
Right. No, this
worst
is
show-
one that you actually you were excited to go to, and you actually put hard-earned money down, and you went and bought this ticket to go to this show, and it was fucking terrible.
Oh man, let me think. I'm trying to think of the days when I was really young. Who I
You
thought
can
was absolutely
you can
terrible.
if you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, you can like kind of
No, fuck them.
sound their name out. Like
I can't think of anyone that was absolutely horrendous that I paid for that I was excited for, because I know that any show I've been for, like Pantera back in the day and Korn and all those bands that I went to see, even the death metal bands, they always were great. Like, I loved it. Who was awful? Well, there were bands that I didn't want to see, and then when I saw them, I was like, well, now I know why I didn't want to see them.
Right.
Like back when Black Sabbath was on tour with Dio singing, we went to go see him when I was younger, and there was an opening band, and I'm not going to say their name, but they were just terrible. I mean, I was like, really, what the hell? And I was a young kid, and I thought they were terrible.
was that the Southern Cross tour?
No, it was the Dehumanizer album, like 93 or 94.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I can
So-
tell you right now, dude. I paid a lot of money to go see Eric Clapton live, and he was fucking garbage.
You know what? My mom and dad went to see Eric Clapton, and they had floor seats like 10 rows back, and my mom fell asleep. No
Right.
shit.
That's
And
exactly
Eric-
what happened.
My dad
dude.
was like, Eric Clapton is looking at you while you're sleeping. He goes, I'm embarrassed. What the hell are you doing, woman? And she's like, I don't care. It was boring. Now, that's not me saying Eric Clapton's boring. That's my mom. But
No, I can tell you,
Eric.
Eric Clapton's fucking boring, dude. That show
Okay.
sucked.
Okay, here's a good one. I just thought of one. In 92, I went to see Guns N' Roses. I was a little kid. We're talking about the real Guns N' Roses.
Yes.
And Soundgarden opened up. Now, Soundgarden was on the Bad Motor Finger record, which is a record that I love.
It's
right?
incredible.
Back
Yeah.
then, I was all death metal and thrash metal. I
Right.
didn't care about that kind of stuff. I fell asleep when they played.
Wow. Really?
I fell asleep during Soundgarden, and you know what? I kicked myself because I love Soundgarden. Now, I eventually saw them again. I saw them at the Forum in LA about, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, and they were
Nice.
amazing. And I love Chris Cornell. He's a huge influence. But as a little jerk kid, I fell asleep during Soundgarden.
That's fucking funny. No, I was a big jerk adult. It was probably about 5
You're a big jerk adult.
it was it was 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and I wanted to take my mom to go see Eric Clapton because it's Eric Clapton. My mom wanted to go see him again. She went to go see him with my dad and stuff. My dad was been gone for a while, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'll take you to see him." We paid a lot of money to see this motherfucker, and I wanted to throw shit at him. Like, it was so
It's
bad.
probably the same tour my parents went to.
It
right?
was so fucking
My mom
boring,
was
dude.
snoozing.
Like all he did was he walked out and like he sat on a chair on this huge fucking stage, sat on a chair, and he's like, "Hello."
Crashed himself and farted.
No, I mean he's like, "Hello," and then he
it's
starts
a shame
playing.
because I
Hello.
like the Eric Clapton from before my time.
Right.
when he was with Cream and
Yeah,
stuff like
right,
that.
exactly. White room and shit.
Yeah, that's good stuff, But when he started getting into doing duets with Babyface back in the 90s,
Well, when he started doing a lot of like bluesy stuff, which I really like that stuff.
I mean, that was his thing. He was the English
No, but
bluesman.
like by himself though, like he just does that, and it really
You know,
does
I mean,
not.
when you're an artist, you go through phases. You do stuff. Some nights you got it, some nights you don't. But you know what? Eric Clapton is not only a genius, but he's a legend.
is.
So he's allowed to
He
put
is.
people
He's an
to sleep,
icon.
I guess.
Yeah, he's allowed to fuck
Right.
over his fans. I hear you.
It's funny that you said Soundgarden, though, because for me, the one time I saw, it wasn't Soundgarden by themselves. It was when Cornell and they were doing the Temple of the Dog thing with
Nice.
Pearl Jam.
Right. Yeah.
And I went to that concert, and that to me, I kind of dug the album. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, it's
I
cool.
love that record. I love
It's a
that
great
record.
album. But
Yeah.
that stage performance was the night I was there.
Uh-huh.
It was like that. No one tuned anything.
Oh,
There was shit falling over on the stage. Like, they had stuff stacked and shit was falling over. There was a freaking bag from Wendy's sitting on the corner of the stage
Beautiful.
all night long, and we're like, "Who's fucking hamburgers?"
Who's
that?
Wendy's,
Wow.
man? It's getting cold.
You know,
It's getting
and then-
cold.
and
You know
then
what?
Eddie
At
Vedder
least
was
it was real.
It
Yeah.
was real.
It was real. And you know what? That's the thing when people complain, "Oh, I want real," but when it's really real, like really real, and there's no
You don't want
smoke
it
and
to.
mirrors,
They don't want
it's
that.
like, oh wow. Because on the nights when it's really real and it's crap, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And when you see the bands, you know, every night go out, be really consistent and all this stuff, maybe that artist isn't the truth because, you know, just the law of averages, you're gonna have some shitty dukers in your
Of course.
tour, and it's like you
Sure.
start to see like, wait a minute, how come when I see that guy press and play on that thing back there before you started singing, like what's going on here? But when it's really real, like a band, like because my friends all went to see Temple of the Dog when they did their tour a couple years ago, and they said the same thing. They said it was just they just walked out, they played their songs, and it was really cool, and it was over, and it was like, and if you like that, it was awesome, and if you don't, you probably were bored.
Yeah.
Well, this wasn't even. It took them almost 20 minutes to get to their first song because they're trying to figure shit out. And Eddie Vedder he was trying. I don't know what. I think he had to have been stoned, and he was standing on stage, and he just kept doing his Eddie Vedder thing. That he was shaking his head back and forth.
he
So I'm
started
like,
singing.
what is he doing?
Oh,
But
my
That's
bad of me.
the rest of the guys, everybody was looking at him like, "What are you doing? We haven't started yet."
Oh, my
You know,
bad. I sing through my
it was
teeth.
just weird. It was.
You know, and that's the beauty of being in the moment. At the moment, you just never know what you're gonna get. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Sunflower
you guys caught
Dead never has a night like
That's
that.
right.
We
Never.
always- you know why? Because we're always terrible. So there's never anywhere worse to go. We're just terrible, and then the
Like-
next night we're more terrible. So it's like,
Look,
the
man.
truth is, we're a very, very live band, and without a doubt, if you're with us every night on tour, you'll see the roller coaster go up and down for different guys on different nights. And some nights it connects, and some nights it's like, oh, geez, what did I do? You know. But that's because we're in the moment every night. We're not sitting there, you know, trying to be perfect. We're trying to be the best we can in that moment, because that's really all you can give, in my opinion.
Sure.
And that's cool.
Well, you
I
guys need to come do more of a. I know you're on the West Coast,
Right.
but you guys need to come over
You
and
need
do an East Coast tour.
I got to come a little bit further over here.
Well, the
yeah.
last tour we did in October, we went all the way to, you know, all across the middle of the country. We did East Coast stuff. We did some Southeast stuff and all the way back. So, but we will be playing a lot all over the place in 2019 and hopefully 2020. So there will be many dates coming. We're just, you know, working the pipeline and work looking for the thing that's going to be best for us.
That's
what about
totally
some
cool, man.
overseas stuff? Have you been doing or thinking about any of that, or have you done any of that?
We did a 5-week tour over on the European mainland in 2015, and then we did the UK with Korn for a couple dates. So
Nice.
that was amazing.
That's cool. That is awesome.
And eventually, now that our album is officially released worldwide through the label, you know, as we build up, hopefully we'll get to the point where we get those opportunities and can go to different places again.
Yeah, that'd be really
Sure.
cool, man. That'd be really, really cool for you guys.
Yep.
But speaking of, we're going to do another little break right here, guys. Speaking of, we're going to drop our actual music news stuff here. Kid Cook and Miss Amanda Jane will be doing their next segment right here. It's our, what are we calling it, Rum?
It's Full Metal Music News.
I always get that wrong. I don't know why.
I don't know why you get that
I
wrong.
fucking made up the name and I can't even remember it.
It's well, that's because you're probably high.
I'm old. Anyway, all right, so here's Full Metal Music News.
The Metal Hand of God proudly presents
It is said that the amount of musical knowledge you are about to hear has the potential to blow your mind. Out of any podcast, this musical segment is the only one you will ever need to listen to again. Welcome to Full Metal Music News. Starring the two most knowledgeable people we could find in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kid Cook and Amanda Jane. Full Metal. Music news starts now.
Boom! Oh shit, I almost busted my ass right there, girl. Shit. And welcome back to another segment of Full Metal Music News. I am your host, Kid Cook, or Mr. Kid Cook, whatever you want to say. And joining me for the first time, and from now on, is the lovely and attractive
Amanda Jane.
And we're going to get into some music news with a punch to your throat. Now, I see you have a lot of notes written down over there.
I do, because this is some exciting stuff that
This is some exciting, some very exciting stuff.
Some very exciting stuff. Like one of my all-time favorite bands, Lacuna Coil, they are planning to release a new album in 2019.
2019?
Which is now.
This is
this
now.
Year.
We are in 2019.
This year, we are in 2019. Holy crap. It's, they're on tour right now. So they're when they get back from their Europe tour, they're going to start writing for their new album. And then last year in 2018 of November, they released a first time ever new book called Nothing Stands in Our Way.
Oh, cool. So they're on tour in Europe right now.
Yeah, they're on tour in Europe.
So they
right
have
now.
no United States tour dates? You didn't see nothing planned?
Nothing planned in the United States besides releasing that book they did last year. And it includes like all kinds of photos and memorabilia and all kinds of tons of backstage scenes and stuff like that.
Backstage.
So,
You don't have any dirty like
they have baby pics.
They have baby pics?
They have baby pics.
No, I'm talking about like some dirty deets, like, you know, like fighting or, you know. You haven't read the book yet?
No, I haven't read the book yet. And I know you like to collect music books, so I think we should probably
I like to collect Playboys.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But mostly you have a lot of music books, so
I do.
I think we need to
a lot of
be on the
music
lookout
books.
for the Lacuna Coil book, because I'd like to start adding that to my collection.
Lacuna Coil. Well, I'll let you read that book, and then you can tell me, or you can say it on the segment what they have in the book. Well,
Yeah.
I would not, give away anything in the book. But is it like a picture book, or
Yeah,
is
it's
it...
like mostly picture book and memorabilia and like artifacts.
So it's like the Jimmy Page book that I have.
Yeah,
Oh,
basically.
cool. Which, surprisingly, Jimmy Page, about 2-3 years ago, he released a book called Jimmy Page by Jimmy Page, which is, all kind of pictures of him. You've seen the book that I have. It's over 400 pages, rare photos of Jimmy Page. And just recently, Led Zeppelin, the actual band Led Zeppelin, has done the same thing.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, so I'm going to be looking to pick that up very soon. So you have anything else, or is this Lacuna Coil, or?
Well, who else besides Lacuna Coil on tour? This year on tour, Hailstorm is going to be.
Oh, that's my favorite. Lizzie
Yeah,
Hale.
I know that.
You know that. I drill over her all the time.
Hailstorm will be going on tour this year from March to November. Their dates and lineup and information can be found more on their website and their Facebook page.
You have any New Orleans dates?
No.
Oh,
the
you
only
fucking
two states that I
asshole.
saw was Ohio and South Carolina.
That's actually close. No Texas dates either?
No Texas dates.
Oh, that's
Everything
strange.
else was in Europe, like in Italy and London and
Oh, wow.
and Germany, but they only playing in the States in Ohio and South Carolina.
Damn. Do they have any? Are they gonna be releasing any new albums, or you didn't see anything about
I
that?
didn't really see anything about that.
This is tour dates.
This is
That's
just
that's
tour
the
dates.
news. What's going on with them right now? Is
Yeah.
just tour dates.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit, that seems pretty exciting. Maybe we should travel to Ohio to go see them.
I'd rather go to South Carolina because they have nicer beaches and.
Well, it's not about the beaches but another speaking about concerts and tour dates and all. Me and you are gonna be going to see Seven Dust.
Yes, my favorite all-time band ever. It'll be my 9th time seeing Seven Dust live. Yeah. They're playing at the House of Blues February 2nd in
With
New Orleans.
Mark Tremonti, which is his solo band, Tremonti, which is Mark Tremonti. You might know him from a little band called Creed, and another little band called Alter Bridge with the amazing Miles Kennedy, which is one of my favorite vocalists. You can ask Amanda because I drill about him over him all the time.
He's fine
It's just
as
his
fuck,
like
too.
rain, whatever you say about him being fine as fuck. That's just your opinion. He is a gorgeous man though, and he actually don't believe in God. I did, hear that in an interview with Mark Tremonti. He's saying that Miles don't believe in God, but we're not gonna get into that whole religion
But who else is
debate.
playing? Cane Hill.
Cane Hill, which I have seen Cane Hill. This will be my fourth time seeing Cane Hill. That's our hometown boys from New Orleans.
Right.
So you haven't seen Cane Hill yet?
I've never seen Cane Hill.
Oh, they're amazing. Like they were actually supposed to play that Butcher Babies and Non-Point show that we went to, but I think Matty broke his hand or had a injury where he had to back out the tour. They're very good live though. Very, very good.
Well, I believe your word on that.
That's the hometown boys. So we gotta show them love, you know.
And then like 2 other bands will be.
But they're unknown bands. They're so unknown that I don't even remember their names. I feel horrible for that. We're going to see them.
I guess we should do a little bit of research.
Well, you know, the thing with that
too.
is I want to be surprised by them.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I like to do too. Going to concerts.
Well, you don't know. Like we went to see Trey Unites 9 Kills and Memphis Mayfire, and that opening band we knew nothing about. And they did a metal cover of "Kissed by a Rose."
Mm-hmm. And they were really good.
By who sung that? Who originally sung that song? Seal originally sung that song, and that was an amazing cover. It threw me off. Like I was like, "What the fuck?" It was like, "Is this Kiss from a Rose?" And everybody was into it. Really good. And they were sweethearts too. Remember, they were outside trying to sell their album.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because I didn't have cash on me.
Yeah.
They were really sweethearts though, but you know,
they were really good. So
you get hit on by Spencer from Ice 9 Kills and Maddie from Memphis Mayfire. You got hit on by them.
Well, what can I say? What can I say? It's just,
it happens.
You know.
That was that pit though. That pit for Memphis Mayfire though. That was huge.
It's my blonde hair.
It's your blonde hair, huh? Just the blonde moments.
It is. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about that 7 Days show. So excited about it. And then I have one more thing. Right now, the #1 song in America is Ariana Grande's "Thank You Next." I haven't heard about it, but friends of mine last night said.
Yeah, we went to. They were like raving about it last night. So it's like, oh my god, it's like the greatest song ever. And I'm just like,
yeah, it's talking about like all your exes and how they
live in Texas.
And you just kind of move on from the next one. It's all about moving on from the next one. So that's.
But that seems like it kind of make you sound like you're a whore. Thank you next, like on to the next one. Like you're not trying to make it work in a relationship. You're just gonna be in a relationship for 2 to 3 months and then thank you next. Is that what the song's about? Or you haven't heard it yet?
I haven't really heard it yet, but I think it's kind of more along the lines of when these guys do you wrong in a relationship and you're just kind of like, all right, thanks. Bye.
So it's putting on the guys.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a sexist song.
Sort of.
It's a sexist song. But that song's been #1 for 7 weeks right now.
It's a good song, I guess.
You better get on Top Job and go listen to it.
Yeah.
And then you can give your review on the song.
And I think my dance team wanted to do a march to that song too, and I haven't even heard it yet. So anyways.
She's a dance team captain for NOLA Bombshells.
Captain of the NOLA Bombshells. What?
What?
So
what in the butt?
Yep, so we'll be marching a bunch of parades for Mardi Gras this year.
And on the next segment, you're going to have the full list of parades you're going to be in?
Yeah.
For the people to hear?
Yeah.
The people that's listening that actually haven't tuned out yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is not your regular broadcast of the Metal Hand of God podcast. It's the full metal music news. So that's exciting. You're going to give us a full list of Mardi Gras parades that you're going to be in. Mm-hmm. You're going to be uptown, mid-city?
Most of them are going to be uptown.
Oh, cool. Isn't the one that...
which are the best ones?
My boy Tommy, his girlfriend is also on the NOLA Bombshells, told me that he got punched in the face last year. Or one of the Mardi Gras parades. He got punched in the face because I'm going to be walking security. I'm top flight security, Craig.
Top flight security, a word.
But yeah, on the next segment, you'll have the full list of parades?
Yes, I will.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll be looking forward to that. Not really.
The last year we did a Nirvana song. We did a march to a Nirvana song.
Boo!
But the march was, I mean, I love the song. I love Nirvana, but the march was kind of retarded. So, but anyways.
So now you blabber on enough. Can I get into my music news?
Yes,
finally. I'm going to go take it back a few years. Back in the 80s. I'm going to talk about 2 bands right now that are potentially reuniting. Motley Crue and Van Halen. There's rumor that Van Halen will be reuniting with Michael Anthony. It seems Van Halen's been touring and playing with David Lee Roth, Eddie Van Halen, and Alex Van Halen with Eddie's son Wolfgang doing the bass. And that was Amanda's lovely phone. We're on air right now. She's getting text messages. And,
Speaking of
bombshells, totally interrupted my. Anyway, Motley Crue and Van Halen are Van Halen is rumored to reunite with Michael Anthony, which the original Van Halen lineup of Michael Anthony, Eddie Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, and David Lee Roth has not played together on stage since 1984.
Wow, that was
So,
before I was born.
That was way before I was born.
That was way before you were born.
So that's gonna be pretty exciting to see if that does happen. You know, David Lee Roth in a recent interview, which is why all these rumors have been stirring up, is because he said that he wants to do something original. That's what he said. Like, it hasn't been confirmed yet that they're actually gonna do this with Michael Anthony, but he said he wants to do something original. Everybody's like, oh, it's rumored that he's gonna get back with Michael Anthony.
Well, I think that'll be a good thing.
I would, yeah, because they did Michael Anthony wrong. You know, they kind of like make it look. They tried to make it look like he wasn't even a member of Van Halen for a while. If you want to go back and read about all the dirty deeds, you know, all the dirty details about that, there was a lot of bad blood between. So hopefully they patched everything up and they can actually do this, and it's gonna be a fucking moneymaker.
Well, maybe it's kind of like their way of trying to make it right with him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But David Lee Roth's looking old now. He's looking really old.
You know, their prime was the 80s, you know, where they looked their finest.
Well, they broke through in 1978 with their first album, Van Halen 1, which is a lot of memorable tracks like Running with the Devil and the guitar performance of Eruption. I don't know if you actually listened to that album or if you just know the name. You know, you never listened to the album?
No.
It's a very good album. And another band that it shocked the world because nobody thought that they would ever get back together. It was Motley Crue. They even signed a contract.
Motley fucking Crue.
They even signed a contract that said they would never play together again. But I think it's because the Queen movie, Bohemian Rhapsody, did so well for that. You know, Queen's like, yeah, they're probably one of the biggest bands in the world right now because of the movie, and they can't tour or nothing. Well, they could tour without Freddie Mercury because they're touring.
Well, yeah, because they're touring with Adam Lambert.
But that's not
is a pretty good fit.
No, it's no Freddie Mercury. No, it's no Freddie Mercury.
No one will ever be Freddie Mercury ever. But Adam Lambert, he's got some of the same vocal abilities as Freddie Mercury did. You haven't heard Adam Lambert stuff. I have, and he's
we're not talking about Queen right now. We're just saying the reason why people are saying that Motley Crue is going to reunite is because Motley Crue has a movie coming out in March, a Netflix movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a company called The Dirt, which is, an adaptation of the book that they wrote a few years back.
Oh, we're gonna have to watch that and do Netflix and chill, man.
Oh yeah, definitely Netflix and chill. You know, even when you're watching a Motley Crue movie, there might be other things too. You know, I might splurge and heroin. No, I'm joking. But no, I think they're gonna capitalize because the movie's coming out, and I think they're gonna capitalize and get back together and do a tour, and nothing's been confirmed. The only thing that has been confirmed, well, actually, no, they did confirm it. They did confirm a few shows because they wrote 4 new songs for The Dirt, for the movie, Motley Crue. And Vince Neil has recently said that he watched the movie and he liked it. That's all he said. So I think they're gonna, if that is the case, they're gonna do shows. It's gonna be because they're gonna try to capitalize on the movie coming out.
For real, yeah.
And who would? It's gonna be a huge moneymaker.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially on Netflix. How movies are blowing up on Netflix right now.
But well, yeah, Netflix is like the #1 movie source right now, I think. Yeah. But speaking of movies, I think Aquaman's just broke $900 million off of box office,
and we have still yet to see it.
Yeah.
So we need to get on that so I can see Jason Momoa all sexy and wet, and I bet the storyline's pretty good too. But
well, the thing is, I'm pretty sure you're not going to watch the storyline. I'm pretty sure you're going to see it for Jason Momoa,
well, yeah,
which is cool. That's cool.
That's #1 reason. But I'm into like the DC and Marvel movies and stuff. Hell, I got like the whole collection of X-Men right there on my shelf. So I'm
but they have Hugh Jackman in those movies too.
That's besides the point as well. But I loved Ant-Man. Ant-Man was
It had Paul Rudd in there.
He's a cute dude.
He's a cute dude. He's not a hot dude.
You
heard it here on the Full Metal Music News. Paul Rudd is not hot. He's not sexy. He's cute.
He's cute. He's adorable cute.
He ain't no Chris Evans.
No. Chris Evans.
Hey, next segment, Amanda drills over the DC and Marvel superheroes.
Well, Comic-Con was here this past weekend too, and we didn't go. We had plans to go.
We did have plans, but we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into why our plans got ruined. And we could have used the promo code for MetalHandOfGaming podcast.
We could have used that
10% off.
10%. We could have used that promo code from this awesome.
Yeah, but we're
podcast.
not gonna get into the deets of why our plans got ruined because certain people don't want their business on air. So anyway,
Anyway,
we just want to tell them people to listen to this episode. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of our beautiful music segment. If you want to recap of what we just talked about.
so we talked about Lacuna Coil. They are coming out with a new album this year. They released their first time ever book in November 2018 called Nothing Stands in Our Way.
Which includes baby pictures.
Post baby pictures and memorabilia and backstage stuff. Hailstorm will be on tour this year, starting in March to November. Only coming to the U.S. twice, to Ohio and South Carolina. Them bitches. And Ariana Grande's "Thank You Next" is
number one song in America right
right
now.
now.
This is really fucking
Crazy.
embarrassing.
Van Halen
Is reuniting.
Is
A rumor to reunite with Michael Anthony, the original bassist of Van Halen, and Motley Crue might capitalize on their movie coming out.
Yeah.
And Motley Crue does have a movie coming out too
on Netflix. Yeah.
on Netflix in March called The Dirt,
Yeah.
and Vince Neil likes it.
So that's pretty exciting news.
Yeah, well, that would be all for this segment of Full Metal Music News. I have been your host, Kid Cook, and always with me is the lovely and attractive
Amanda Jane.
And we're going to kick it back over to the guys in the Metal Hand of God podcast.
Oh my God, that just blew your mind. Join us next time for another episode of Full Metal Music News with Kid Cook and the amazing Amanda Jane. Later, kids.
That was a lot of knowledge.
Right on there.
You
Right
know,
there.
that
You
was
burned your face with knowledge. Right
it was
there.
a lot of knowledge of music and
I
fancy.
feel very intelligent, well-rounded musically speaking now.
See,
Well,
yeah,
but you came onto the show that way, so that helps.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, true.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's a great segment. I'm looking forward to the next one. I've you know,
I was told the
I know
next
what
one.
the next one's going to be about. I don't want to say any.
Oh,
Spoilers.
okay. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say we had a hint of what the next one's gonna be
Yeah,
about. But all right.
It's music and it's a movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Ah.
So it's coming.
Speaking of more, I have a story I wanted to tell y'all because you were talking about Soundgarden and stuff like that. And as a kid, the first time I got to see Soundgarden was in '91 or '90
Okay.
when Lollapalooza tour. The second
Right.
year Lollapalooza went around, I think it was '91, '92. And it came down here, and it was ridiculous. There was a ton of people, and Soundgarden was playing. So that was like that was the first time I actually got to see them live, and you know, being a kid back then, I was all into them, and they were fucking fantastic. But the cool part of the story was, on that tour was Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Jesus and Mary Chain, Ministry, who else? Porno for Pyros, I think, was on that. Yeah, they were on that. It was Porno for Pyros, but they were on the side stage. They were on a small stage.
I remember that.
And then there was, I forget who the other bigger bands were on the other stage. But that night before, it had poured down raining here, okay? Like, it was awful. Like, if you ever been to Louisiana, you know that we get fucking horrible rain, and it's, like, flooding all the time. So, not really all the time, but you know. So it was outside, so the fields and shit were full of mud. And I'm not talking about like a little bit of mud. It was up to my knees at some points, and we were walking through all this shit. So we're standing by the side stage where Perry Farrell, and then we're waiting for a Porno for Pyros to go on. And so this right in front of the stage is this huge mud pit. Like, and there's like all these people are way away from it, but me and my friends, it was like 10 of us, we're all standing by the mud pit, and we all decided, you know what, let's fucking mud wrestle, right? We're 16-year-old kids, you know, whatever, fuck it, we'll do this.
Makes perfect sense.
Exactly. So we started fucking around and throwing mud and being stupid. Well, I lean up against the barricade, and lo and behold, I get tapped on my shoulder. I'm like, great, you know, I'm thinking to myself, the fucking security guards are here to tell us we can't do this shit, right? I turn around, it's Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro, and they asked us if we could go over there on the other side of the bench, other side of the thing, and take pictures with them sliding in the mud on their side. And of course, I said, fuck yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
So like 3 of us got over on the other side of the barricades, and we went over there and we hung out with those 2 guys. I can not Cornell. It wasn't Chris Cornell. It was the guitar player from Soundgarden.
Kim Thiel or whatever.
Yeah, the bass player from Pearl Jam, and standing on the other side was Al Jurgensen watching us do this. And there were pictures of us covered in fucking filth, just standing there with these guys, and they had them all in the newspaper, local newspaper out here. It was
no shit.
It was a great story. Because everybody was like, "I don't believe that happened." I'm like, "Motherfucker, look, there we are."
It's printed and it's for real, and now you can look at it. That's great, man. You can go, I wonder if I can pull that up on the picture on the internet.
Wait, what?
I wonder if you can pull that picture of that paper up on the
I don't
internet.
know. I might have to look that up because I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
But
some kind of archive has to have it.
But it was one of the most surreal moments, because as a fucking little kid, sitting there going like, the guy I'm getting ready to watch on stage is talking to me,
Yeah, that's really rad. That is really cool.
Yeah, and then the only other very cool moment I've had a bunch of very cool moments, but with meeting like one of my all-time favorite singers was of course you should know who Minor Threat is, right?
Of course.
Right. Well, we went to see Fugazi.
Nice.
And Fugazi was playing at a little bitty place. We got there super early because we knew it was going to be a packed place. We're still in high school. We're high school kids. So we're standing outside, sitting in this it looks like a draw door, like a garage door, and we're sitting there just bullshitting. The door is to the club, that's where the band loads all their shit in and whatever. So we're sitting there. We hear people fucking around behind us, but we're not bothering anybody, Well, Ian McKay walks up behind us and tells us, "Hey guys, you guys are gonna have to get out the way because we have to shut these doors so we can do sound check." And we're like. None of us could talk at that moment. We're like standing there, like, "Holy fuck, you're Ian McKay, dude,"
Right.
And he goes, "Give me a second." I was like, "Okay." And he said, he walked over to the guy and he said, and then he waved to us to come inside. So we went in and he told them, says, "These guys are going to watch our sound check. We're going to shut the door and they're going to watch and they're going to go out." And we got to watch them play 2 fucking songs, dude. It was so awesome. And then they let us,
that's really cool.
It was very cool of him.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things going on, where is 2019 taking Sunflower Dead this year? I know you've got a lot more going on with this album. I mean, you've got the benefit coming up. Any definite plans, big plans? Do you have any big events that you're thinking about doing?
I know that in early February, we're playing a local show here out in California at a really small venue that is it's going to be sold out pretty quick. We're going to do that, and I think we're going to announce that this week. And then we are looking for touring, and as the opportunities come, we'll be putting that out. We're going to shoot a video for the second single that'll probably be released in springtime, I would assume, and then that'll go to radio, and then hopefully be touring all summer, and then hopefully by the fall have a third single on the radio with a third video, and just keep on going until we have to write a new record. And hopefully we'll be in a position where enough people want it that we can go in and do that acoustic EP and then a fourth record.
That is what I'm fucking talking about.
I think the third single is going to be Kept Down.
Yeah, good luck on radio playing that one.
But again, every song that I've heard so far, especially in this album, is amazing. Like I said, it's an interesting transition from just the last album by itself to this album here.
Thank you.
You guys have really and you've outdone yourself on this album.
I agree, man. It's
really, really
incredible.
good. It's darkness, it's light, it's drama, it's in your face. It's just exactly what needs to be happening. And especially with you guys right now, I think you guys have nailed it. You've owned it. 2018 was your year for sure. 2019, you're going to start to own this year for sure. And I think it's just going to be amazing things for Sunflower Dead from this point on.
Awesome. I hope so, man. I like you're a good fortune teller. I'm cool with it.
All right. $3.95 a minute, bro.
Nice.
Well, dude, look, thank you so much for coming back on the show, man. Look, you're always fucking welcome on here, and you know that, hands down, anytime, even if we don't ask you.
To have you.
Yeah,
you guys are huge.
Dude, even if you don't ask us, if we don't have anything to promote or whatever, you want to come on just to bullshit about movies and shit, you're always welcome, man.
Awesome. I appreciate that. It's always a good time to do it. Right on.
But anyway, so we are at our fucking 800-hour limit, and so anyway, guys, I was your host, Wayne.
I'm the Rum Guy.
And again, I want to say thank you to Mr. Michael Del Pizzo for joining us from the Sunflower Dad.
Thank you, guys.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to keep it metal!
MHOG secret and leaving a stain. You ain't as dope as us, bitch. Stay in your lane. Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah! Oh yeah!
That's it.